Hi guys, welcome back to another very important video on TypeScript. In this video, I will be talking about some awesome tips and tricks which are essential in every project that you are building using TypeScript. Nowadays, everybody uses TypeScript, whether they are using Angular, React, Vue, or even on the backend side, there are a lot of frameworks of the Node Express which are built upon the TypeScript. So I've already configured the TypeScript project. You can see that this is one file with the configuration. This is package.json file, and along with that I've created this index.ts file, and for running the code in this file I just need to run npm run start command. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I will be expecting you guys to have some understanding about TypeScript, that we can use TypeScript for creating types for different variables, primitive, non-primitive types. We can create interfaces, we can create classes. First of all, I'm going to be adding a comment at the top. So I'm going to be adding and or. Okay, this is what I need to use in this part. So let's say that I have this type of the user and it has only one property, name, and I have another type, let's say permission, and it can contain can read equals to boolean. And now let's say that I'm creating a user, and inside this user I'm going to be initializing it with a name property. Okay, and now I want to give it the type. So currently I've only given the type user. Let's say that I want to give both of these properties, can read and name, to this particular user, but I don't want to move any of these properties to its respective parallel types. Okay, like can read, move it to the user, or name to be moved in the permission. In order to use both of these properties, I can merge both of these types which I have defined above. So I can use and I can write permission, and now you can see that it is giving me an error that I have not added this can read property for this particular user. Now you can see that I'm able to merge both of these types, user and permission, by using this single operator. And similar to this, I can have or operator as well. Let's say that I can have string or number. This is the type, and this is can only take string or number. And let me define a function. Let's say print value, and this is going to be of type string or number, but rather than directly giving the types over here, we can define type or number, which we have defined above. All right, and this is simply going to log this up. Now this value is going to take only string or number. It cannot take booleans, it cannot take arrays. So let's call this function, so print value, and inside it what we can do is we can pass a string. It will not throw us an error, this is fine. And now let's give it an integer, and let's give it a boolean. And when I will define a boolean, you can see that it is giving me an error that this particular data type is not allowed for this particular value because I have given string or number. Okay, so this is how we can use and or operators to combine, merge, or making decisions which property needs to be allowed to be passed for particular variable which we have created. So first of all, let me show you by running this project npm run start, which I've added in package.json file. I'll hit enter, and currently it has thrown an error, and I'm sure this error is because of this true, because it is giving a TypeScript error that boolean is not allowed for this particular value. Let me comment this line, and I'm going to run this project again. So let's run, and you will see that it has printed hello 123. So this is how our TypeScript project is running. Next, I will be talking about read-only property, pick and record types. So let me first of all comment the above code to avoid any conflict with the name of the variables that I have created. All right, so let's come down and let's first add this comment, and I'm going to add a read only. So first of all, let's say that I have created a type product. Okay, and this is going to be of type string. This is going to be number. Okay, and I'm going to be creating products and product of array, and now I can actually add name, Apple, price 100, So this is how, actually, let me put it inside array like this. All right. So after this, let's log this product first of all. So console.log products, and I'm going to run, and this is going to print this object. But before this console log, I'm going to be adding products 0, and then I want to change the price of it to 200, let's say. Okay, so let's run it. And now you can see that the price is changed. Let's say you want to create a data type or a variable which you want to not to be changed. Let's say the total number of months in an year, which you don't want to change its value. Total number of days in a month. The weekdays, the name of weekdays. So these are the different types that you want to create, and you don't want it to be changed by any user. These should be fixed. So there is an awesome built-in read-only property. So I can write read-only, and I need to put it inside it. Okay, so let's run the project now. So it has actually printed. Actually, I forgot to add this before the square brackets actually. Okay, now you can see that it is giving me an error that cannot assign price because it is read only property. And if I run the project, it's going to throw an error again. So whenever you want any property to not to change its value, you can use the read only property. Next, I want to quickly talk about the pick and record property. So let me first of all comment the above code like this, and let's add pick. Now I'm going to define an interface of type user, and this is going to be taking ID of type number, name of type string, and let's say the email of type string. And if I want to create a new user, you already know that how we can do that. We need to define the user type, and now it is going to give us this ID, name and email, and this is how we can define this particular user. Now let's say that I don't want to change this interface, but I want to create a new variable just like a user, and I want to give it a type of user as well. But this particular variable should only take less than the properties which I've defined in this interface. Let's say the ID and the name, and without email. Okay, so in order to do that, let me first create a new type. It is not required, but it's always a good practice. So user preview, this is a new type, and I'm going to be using this pick type. So I'm going to give the type of the interface which I have created, user, and then I need to define ID and the name like this. Okay, so now if I want to create user2, which is going to be of type user preview, equals to, now you can see that it is suggesting me only ID and name, and you can see that I have not made any change to this interface. I've created this user, and I'm only picking up the first two properties now. So I can create ID and the name. Okay, so it will not throw any error. Let me prove it to you. So user and the user2. All right, let's run the project. And here you can see that this is the first one, this is the second one, and I'm using the same interface without making changes to it. I'm able to pick only the ID and the name from it. Now let's talk about the record, which is also very important. So let me quickly comment this part of code. Okay, so I'm going to add record. So record is basically useful for creating objects when you don't know the property names before creating it. It is going to add new properties within an object on the runtime. So let me first of all create a new object. So let's say the number of items. Okay, and this is going to take, let's say, phones 10, laptops 20. So these are the two properties I've added to it, and I'm going to add a new data type to it, and this is going to be record, and this is going to be string, and this is going to be of type number. This is what I've already given to it. Now this particular object only takes two properties. Let's say on the runtime, I want to add new property to this particular object, and we can do that by this number of items dot leds equals to 25. Okay, and this is going to make sure the types of the property and the value as well, the string and then the number. Now let's quickly verify what it prints. So this is going to print these three property values which I have created over here, and I've added a new property and its value on the runtime. Let's now talk about type guards, which are one of the most important topics in TypeScript. So let's first comment this part of code, and below this I'm going to be adding type guards. Okay, so let's first create a couple of interfaces. First of all, this is going to be the user, and I'm going to give it ID of type string. We can give it a number as well. So we can give it the name of type string and email of type string. And I'm going to be creating two interfaces, and this is going to be the product, and I'm going to be adding ID of type string, title of type string, and price of type number. So these are a couple of interfaces which I have created. Now I'm going to be using the same concept which I have used above. So let's say I'm going to create and merge couple of interfaces which I have created above, and this is going to be the type API response. This is not going to be using the API, but just to elaborate you how the type guards work. So I'm going to be using or sign. So now let's create couple of functions. Is user, and this is going to be of type user, actually the response, and this is going to be of type response. Okay, and now this is going to check if response as user dot email is not equals to undefined. We can use any property over here along here, but I have used email because there is no possibility that a product can have an email. So this is the unique property of the user. We can combine all of these properties as well. And for the product, I will be using price because there is no possibility that a user can have a price directly. Okay, so I'm going to copy this particular function, and I'm going to be creating a new function, and this is going to check if this is a product or not. And here I can add the product, and this is going to be, I can use the price here. Okay, so let's close it, and now I'm going to be creating a new data. This is going to be ID. So ID 1, 2, and this is the email, and let's say this particular data is for the user. I've not defined the type yet. Okay, so I want to check if is user, and we can pass the data, and let's log this out. Console.log, and this is going to be the user colon data dot name if is product data, and let's add the console log product data dot title like this. Okay, currently if I hover over it, you will see that the property title does not exist on type ID string name. So currently the reason it is giving us this particular error because we have added this if condition, and this particular is actually returning us this response, the product, but the product does not contain this particular data which we have created over here. So in order to enable it, let's say this particular data is for the user, and I'm going to add response is user. Okay, and now I can add the response is product. All right, so now you can see that the error is gone. It is handling both of these things, and currently it is going to give us the output like this. Let me run the project. So you can see that it has returned this user, and the reason this if condition did not work because this particular data, even though we have not defined a particular type to it, it is automatically considering that this data belonging to the user. Okay, because this data have the email ID which is not undefined. Okay, and if I try to change it to title and the price, let's add it over here below. Let me comment this, and I'm going to add ID which is going to be of type string, and now I'm going to add the title, and now I'm going to add the price. All right, so now it is not giving any error as of now. So now if I run the project, it is throwing an error. Confirm is not defined, where I've added the confirm. Actually, this is the console log. Sorry guys. So now let's run the project again. And now you can see that it has actually outputted the product. It is automatically detecting that this particular function is going to be triggered because this data belongs to the product but not the user. Okay, because of this particular function. So creating these kinds of function to check if a particular data belongs to which particular interface is very important. I would suggest you guys, whenever you want to check or print the values, you can actually create this function, and actually printing the values you can verify if this particular data belonging to product, user, or any other interface or not. So let's now talk about generics, simple generics, and conditional types with generics. Let me first quickly comment this particular God's code. Okay, so let's come down. So I'm gonna be talking about generics now. So let's say that I have created a function, and this is going to be of name identity. Okay, and this is going to take an argument. All right, and simply it is going to return an argument. It is going to give us an error because we have not given it a type any to it, like a string or a number, but for now let's leave it like this. Okay, so now let's create an output one, and I'm going to create an identity, and this is going to be of type my string. And let's create output 2, and this is of type number. Okay, and we can log these as well. So output 1 and output 2. Okay, now let's say that I don't want to use any type to it. I don't want to use unknown type to it. I want to give it the type. It can be the string or a number, because this is what I'm passing over here, but I don't want to use any or unknown type. So to do that, I can use a T over here. You can name it anything you want, and I want to give the type T, and the return type is going to be type T as well. Okay, so currently here when we call this particular function, we are going to tell this particular function that this is the type of data that we are giving it to you. So in order to tell this function the type of data that we are sending, we can add a string over here, we can add a number over here, or we can add an object or array over here. So this function is going to be supporting all the different types depending upon the logic which we have written inside it. And if I run this particular code, let me save this particular file. And now if I run this code, you will see that it has actually printed string and number, even though I have not defined any string or number to this particular function. This is the power of generics in TypeScript. And we can use generics with the conditional types dynamically as well, which is a bit complex, but let me show you how we can do that. So here I'm going to define, let me comment this, and I'm going to define a type. Let me first define a string type or number, and here we can define a T type here as well. All right, so T, we can use the extends, which is the keyword of the object-oriented programming concept in TypeScript or any other language. I assume that you have an understanding about extends. So T is going to extend the type string. If it is a string, then we are going to give the type string. Otherwise, we are giving it the type number. Okay, now I'm going to create process data of type t extends string or number, like this. And then let's add the input type t, and this is going to be the return type. That's why I've created the string or number above. All right, don't get confused. This is what we will be returning over here. That's why it is giving us an error that we need to return something. So now I'm going to check if type of input is equals to string, then we are simply going to return its type. Let's say the input dot to uppercase as string or number. Else we know that it is going to be a number, so we can define return input dot to fixed. Let's use the property for a number to as string or number. You can see that the error is gone from here as well. All right, so here now I can actually pass the string and pass the integer as well. So let's say the const upper case string equals to process data. This is going to be the string, and we can use a fixed number equals to price data, and we can pass a string or a number as well. Now let's log to these numbers, and I'm going to run it, and you can see that it is actually returning by using these functions, by using these two fixed. So how awesome is that? It looks a bit complex, but as you start using these in your code, these are very generic types. These are very important, and it can solve a lot of problems of typing in our variables. It can be the string, number, or even the complex data types like the objects, array of objects, nested arrays, nested objects. So that's pretty much it. I hope that you have learned something new in TypeScript from this video. If yes, do subscribe my channel, and also check out my channel. I have created a lot of videos on Next.js 14, JavaScript, Angular, Node, Express, MongoDB, a lot of tips and tricks about the technology. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video.